Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 4th Feb, the news items that we have picked up from the Hindu are these 16. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, substantial progress in Manipur tripartite talks. So the Manipur issue, the crisis which is undergoing in Manipur, we have discussed it. It has been in effect since 1st November 2016. I'm talking about the economic blockade which United Naga Council, an organization representing the Naga population in Manipur, had initiated an economic blockade in Manipur. The national highways here, two important routes have been blocked, because of which essential commodities are not reaching Manipur, because of which the prices here have risen drastically. Along with the demonetization issue, it has multiplied the problems of people here. So this economic blockade was initiated after the state government announced creation of 7 new districts in Manipur. And this United Naga Council was protesting against this decision because these new districts were bifurcating or dividing the Naga population here. So they would be adversely affected. So that was the reason why they protested against it and have initiated an economic blockade. So Naga population is a minority here. Nagaland is actually a neighbor of Manipur, neighboring state. So this now presently the progress is that a tripartite talk has been initiated. Ministry of Home Affairs, means the central government along with the Manipur government. Manipur is presently ruled by Congress, and the United Naga Council are holding tripartite talks. 3 parties coming together for talks, and they will come up with a solution. There have been substantial progress which have been put forth as the news presently. So there is no solution as such which has come forth, but there is expectation that solution will also come forth soon. Manipur is also one of the 5 states which are having assembly elections held presently, along with Punjab, Goa, UP and Uttarakhand. So assembly elections are also scheduled. So what is the thing what we are hearing is that the Manipur government has stepped down a little on the formation of new districts, so it will make some concessions here. United Naga Council will let the blockade end, and some progress would come forth and ease the troubles of the people here. Then the next news item is a 21st century find spotlights prehistoric rock art. So this prehistoric rock art, these are petroglyphs. Petro means rock. So glyphs means carvings. So red rock carvings, like petroleum also, petro means rock. It's rock oil. Oleum means oil. So petroglyphs are rock carvings. So which have been found, these are Neolithic petroglyphs which have been found in the foothills of Ambukuthi Hills, in this Ambukuthi Valley. So this are closely located to another world famous rock carvings which are Edakkal caves, which are in the same district, Wayanad district in Kerala. And these Ambukuthi Valley carvings are having similarity, quite striking similarity with Thovari carvings. So these Thovari carvings are also in the same Wayanad district in Kerala. The style, the motif and workmanship used is quite similar here. So this is the recent discovery. The Edakkal caves, which presently are world famous, were discovered by a British police officer around 123 years ago, means in the colonial era. So this is the recent finding which has taken place. All 3 are located in same Wayanad district in Kerala. And these Thovari carvings are having a style, motif and workmanship where you can see there is no human figure or animal figure in motion as such seen. So these are the kind of carvings seen, and the motifs here used in Thovari signs are quite similar to the Indus motifs. So this is also quite unique feature of these Thovari carvings, and similar ones now are found in Ambukuthi Valley. So that is in news, the discovery. Then the next news item is 17.3 lakh new cancer cases by 2020. So the Indian Council of Medical Research has launched National Cancer Registry Program. So registration of cancer to understand age-wise, gender-wise, the demographic profile of cancer patients, so that an analysis can be made, a prediction can be made of how much cancer burden would India have, and accordingly make arrangements for tackling it. So this India, it has said that India will see 17.3 lakh new cases of cancer, with the prominent cancer types would be breast cancer, lung and cervix cancer by 2020. So the non-communicable diseases account for 53% death of India. out of which 6% are due to cancer. So there is the reason why, this is the reason why this National Cancer Registry program has been initiated. So data would be collected, and then understanding how mortality and how much it affects population, how the stages are developing of cancer, like how when metastasis initiates, all this will be understood, and future planning of resources and preventive measures can be taken accordingly. So this is the cancer threat. You can see the cancer registry, the key findings. These are for 2014. So which is the median age population at which cancer is diagnosed in males and females is shown. Then tobacco related cancer is having 23.8% weightage. So that is a major form of cancer which is detected. Then pediatric cancer, means amongst children, is also 5.8% of the total. Common types of cancer are shown for males and females respectively, you can see. So lung cancer is quite high in females as well. Then the next is, this is the highest number of cases, cancer cases reported were from Haryana. Then comes Delhi and UP. Nation-wise, if you see international cancer patients who are in India, you can see a maximum number from Iraq who are undergoing treatment in India. Then the next news item is Chenchu tribals get an ATM for medicines. So these are Chenchu Gudams. Chenchu is a tribal population, particularly vulnerable tribal group in Prakasam district in Andhra Pradesh. So this is having a difficult terrain. Geographically, it is difficult region to access, and communication networks are also not well developed. So in this remote Chenchu Gudams, habitations of Chenchus, a tribal population, state government has set up ATM-like kiosks. So these will be dispensing medicines free of cost round the clock. So this initiative has been taken with the help of primary health care center. So this primary health center will have a local health worker who will be available 24/7. The health worker will arrange for a mobile phone conversation of the patient with a medical officer after checking blood pressure and pulse of the patient. And then the medical officer would send an SMS, understanding, diagnosing the health of the patient. He would send an SMS to a remote medicine dispenser. So then this medicine dispenser will dispense the appropriate medicine quickly. So that will be these machines, remote medicine dispensers, which have 36 slots available, and a number has been given to each one of them, and relevant medicines, when appropriate number is pressed, would be dispensed. So these machines, ATM-like machines, will be set up to provide essential medicines to the population here. So this is an initiative, government initiative at the state level taken by the government, which should be appreciated and be given as an example as well, how essential medicines can reach in remote areas, tribal population which are not having access, easy access to the outside region. So this is regarding Chenchu tribals. They are present in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Odisha. So they are basically indulging in hunting and gathering. So that is how they survive. The Chenchu language is having quite similarity to Dravidian languages, to Telugu branch specifically. So this is regarding the Chenchu population. So they still continue to collect forest produce as they do gathering. So, and they sell these minor forest produce and make a living. So many are living in Nallamala forests in Andhra Pradesh. The next news item is UIDAI clamps down on 50 fraud sites offering Aadhaar services. So UIDAI, which is the apex authority for implementation of Aadhaar related services, is saying that the recently passed act, which was passed as a money bill, Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies, Benefits and Services Act of 2016. So under this Aadhaar Act, the demographic information, Aadhaar related information, cannot be shared as per the procedures to anybody. So it can only be shared as per the procedures laid down under the Aadhaar Act. And there are many unauthorized agencies having their own websites and mobile apps through which they provide Aadhaar related services. So they are charging money from the people and providing them services like, the Aadhaar card being made for them. So all such things have earlier also been highlighted by UIDAI, and now it has taken action and it has shut down 12 websites and 12 such mobile applications available on Google Play. So steps have also been taken. They say that this violation of the provision of Aadhaar Act by illegally demanding such information and collecting some information can be prosecuted against. It can be punished. So they are illegally using even the Aadhaar logo. So this goes against the IT Act, Information Technology Act too, because Aadhaar's central identities data repository facilities have been registered as such as critically protected systems. So actions will be taken against them for this. This UIDAI has said that people should visit either the official website www.uidai.gov.in or visit an authorized common service center or an Aadhaar permanent enrollment center for getting Aadhaar related services. So common service centers, you should know, this was one of the 3 pillars through which any GP, National E-Governance Plan, the mission mode projects of the former government actually was put forth. So these common service centers have been established in various villages throughout, and they form the single window for provisioning of e-governance services, through which e-governance services could be accessed. So common service centers along with SWAN, state wide area network, and state data centers, national data center as well. These 3 form the pillars of national e-governance plan. So these provide for Aadhaar related services too, plus also Aadhaar permanent enrollment centers which have been established can be utilized as well. And of course the website can be visited uidai.gov.in. So this is how Aadhaar related services should be accessed, not through these illegal websites and the apps which are being issued as such and put into market. So this is Aadhaar. UIDAI is the authority, apex body for it, Unique Identification Authority of India. It has been given legal backing with this act also passed, though it was passed as a money bill so that there would be not much hindrance to its passage. So that had created a controversy. Aadhaar, you know, is a 12-digit unique identification number issued by the government. A majority section of the population has already been covered under it, though in some states the coverage is low, but government is working towards it. Government is emphasizing on this because JAM Trinity, this is the A in JAM Trinity. So Jandhan account, having a bank account, having an Aadhaar unique identification number which can identify beneficiaries, and the mobile app for the transactions, this forms the basis for the direct cash transfer, which government is emphasizing on to provide subsidies to the beneficiaries rather than the present system in which there are too many loopholes and leakages and the subsidies do not reach to the people. So with this direct cash transfer, direct passage of subsidiaries would be possible. So this is a huge reform which the former government was emphasizing on to, and the present government has taken it further to. So these are the benefits. You can see it's a valid proof as such. You can open a bank account with your Aadhaar card. So it is an identification proof which can be used, and direct cash transfer subsidies can be provided through this. Then the next news item is Supreme Court quota order a setback to Rajasthan. So the Rajasthan state government had provided for 5% reservation for special backward classes. So these included the Gujars. So this had been challenged in the Rajasthan High Court, and its December 2016 judgment, the High Court said that this legislation cannot be legal and it was struck down. So no more 5% reservation can be provided. So that is why the state government challenged this order of the High Court in the Supreme Court. So they were demanding that the Supreme Court puts a stay order on this judgment. So if it is stayed, means the previous thing would continue, means the reservation would continue. But the Supreme Court did not stay the High Court's order. Rather, it has issued an interim order asking for a status quo. So status quo means presently the High Court has struck it down, so it remains struck down. So that has been the Supreme Court's interim order, a setback for the BJP government in Rajasthan. So this means now no longer this 5% reservation can be provided by the government, but the Supreme Court has also clarified that whatever reservation provisions have already been made in jobs and in education, that would continue. So that would be protected. There would be no action taken against them, but no further reservations can be provided by the government. So that has been the interim order. So this was under special leave petition that the state government had moved the Supreme Court against this High Court judgment, but it could not succeed. So this is regarding the reservations in in the state. So you can see the overall reservations now have gone up to 54% in the state because of this special backward classes reservation. So that goes beyond the 50% which has been mandated by the Supreme Court in its former judgments, that reservation cannot breach the 50% mark. At least 50% should be available for the general category. So this was the Indira Sawhney case of the Supreme Court of 1992, which was a landmark judgment in which the Supreme Court had stated that reservations cannot exceed beyond 50%. It also had provided for the creamy layer criteria in the backward classes. So amongst the OBCs, creamy layer has to be excluded from reservation. Also, no reservations should be there in promotions had been put forth. Even the carry forward policy which was used by the government in reservations, means reservation provided for has not been filled up in the previous year, can be carried forward to the next year. So this carry forward policy, even if taking place, should not exceed the 50% mark. So even with carry forward, you cannot say that this year 50% plus last year these seats were not filled, so this much percent of last year will also be added up. So that cannot take place. So these strict provisions were provided for in this judgment, and that is why present reservation, as it exceeded 50% mark, was struck down, and has been interim order also calls for the same status quo. Also, you should know that a similar attempt was made earlier too by the Rajasthan state government. So that was in 2008 when 5% reservation was provided to special backward classes on the same lines, and the High Court even then in a year later had struck down it in 2009. So there's already a history behind this. That is why when this reservation of 5% was provided, the Gujjars were still not happy and they continued agitating because they knew that the judiciary would strike it down. But the government had ensured no, it will try to uphold it by all means possible. So let's see how does it go ahead. So we have this whole history. 27% of reservation is provided to OBCs, because for SCs and STs 15% and 7.5% is fixed. SCs scheduled caste 15%, SCs 7.5%. So you can see 27% would make it 49.5%. So that is staying under the 50% mark. So this reservation has been initiated in 1991 by the VP Singh government of Janata Dal government. So this was on the basis of the Mandal Commission recommendations, which had given the idea that how much percentage of the population would be OBCs in the country and how should it be taken forward. Such cases of reservations exceeding 50% are many. The southern states to Karnataka, Tamil Nadu are known to exceed this 50% mark. Odisha government, you can see. So these are against the judicial mandate provided. So this is there. Generally, these laws are put in the 9th schedule of the Indian Constitution. So when laws are put under 9th schedule, they are immune to judicial review. So 9th schedule of the Constitution was added by the first amendment to the Constitution, and this provided, so this was originally meant for agrarian reforms cases. So for social obligation, all these provisions which are laws which are made, the people would come up in the Supreme Court, in the judiciary, protesting against these laws to eliminate all such cases. So it was, so land reforms also went against right to property. So people would protest for upholding their right to property, and many court laws would be initiated. So that is why, to ensure that such cases are not initiated, this provision was made. That 9th schedule is there. Any law which is put by the government, central and state government laws, whatever are put in the 9th schedule, of course by the central government, would be immune from judicial review. So this is a huge controversial provision, 9th schedule of the Constitution. But even in this, Supreme Court has shown its innovation, and in later judgment it has said that 9th schedule is immune from judicial review. Judiciary will not question any law which is mentioned in the put in the 9th schedule. They cannot scrutinize it. They cannot adjudicate on it. That is agreed. But a caveat, the but is that which law can be put in the 9th schedule or not, whether the law can be put in the 9th schedule or not, that is open for judicial review. So that is how the judiciary functions. These are called judicial innovations. The way we saw the basic structure of the Constitution, even that concept came why? Why did it come up? Because the Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution. The judiciary has the power to adjudicate. It has to uphold the Constitution. But the Constitution itself is amendable. So then how much power does the judiciary have to control the Parliament? control the legislature and the executive. So that is why what it tries to do is working together by having these judicial innovations. So basic structure also, the idea was that yes, parliament has the power to amend the constitution. It has unlimited power. It can amend any provision, but it cannot amend the basic structure in quotes. So what is this basic structure? The judiciary decides. So that is how it puts limitations on the legislature's powers. So this is again another judicial innovation. It said yes, immune from judicial review, but which law would be put, we will decide. Whether it is can be put or not, that we will adjudicate on. That power we have, that judicial review power still remains with us. So that is how it goes ahead. These had already been put in the 9th schedule. So nothing can come forward on this, but presently this provision is there. So again, 9th schedule, using that also becomes difficult for the government. Then the next news item is can't compare US vetting order with Indian bill panel. So US President Donald Trump has issued an executive order so that people from 7 Muslim countries cannot enter into USA even if they have valid visa or even if they are green card holders. So such stern initiatives taken by the US administration are compared with the initiative taken by the Indian government. So the Citizenship Amendment Bill of 2016, which provides for people from countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So these countries, people who are fleeing from these countries because of religious persecution. So the religions, Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians are specifically mentioned. All these who are fleeing from religious persecution from these 3 countries can be provided citizenship by naturalization by some concession. So actually there's an 11-year requirement that you would be residing in India for 11 years and for the last 12 months in the 14 years before applying as such, then only you will be provided citizenship by naturalization. But this provision has been amended. Now instead of 11 years, 6-year requirement would be there for these religions groups from these 3 countries. So this actually is excluding Muslims. So even earlier it was there that in Muslims also there are various sects, and some sects are persecuted in these countries which are dominated by another religious sect of Islam. So that is why it was said why Muslims specifically are fled when some sections there are also undergoing religious persecution. So that is why this is discrimination on the basis of religion. So many claim that this is violating Article 14 of the Constitution, and presently it is being compared with the US executive order, the way they are excluding Muslims, our act is also excluding Muslims, and the government defends it, saying that this is actually providing people with refuge rather than excluding. So whatever be the case, it is open for debate. Then this is regarding the major provisions of Citizenship Amendment Bill, which we just saw. So these illegal migrants, presently they are illegal migrants, but they would be provided with citizenship by naturalization by concession has been provided. Relaxation in the number of years required to be resident here. Instead of 11 years, it would be 6 years. Another provision in this amendment bill is that OCI card holders, overseas citizens of India card holders, their registration can be cancelled if they violate any law. So here also there is a little controversy. You can see this is controversy because this is on the basis of religion, discrimination, and this is a controversy because which violation of law has to be, it's a wide ambit. Even if a minor offense committed like parking in no parking zone, etc., if this violation can also cancel your registration of OCI card, then it is questionable. Then the next news item is Supreme Court may get 5 new judges. So as we have discussed quite often now that Supreme Court appointments are taking place by collegium system. So the collegium led by the Chief Justice of India, Justice J.S. Kher, has recommended 4 High Court judges and 4 High Court Chief Justices and a High Court judge for elevation to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court strength has also come down to 23, which is an all-time low in recent years. So these names have been recommended, so we have to wait and watch. If the government approves it, then these 5 new judges would come forth. Government is continuously insisting that MOP be finalized, then appointments should take place rather than with the collegium system. And the Supreme Court says MOP will take time, make the appointments presently on the interim basis based on the collegium system. So we'll see how does it go ahead. So Supreme Court current judicial vacancies are 8. 5 names have already been recommended, so we have to see how would it go ahead. Anyway, judiciary has a huge backlog. High Court judges also appointments, that is also delayed. Supreme Court itself has vacancies. So what the steps government would take right now, we'll have to wait and watch. This is regarding the MOP, which we have discussed earlier, which is providing for eligibility criteria for appointments. What would they be? Specifically mentioning them, how the appointment should take place, making it transparent. A secretariat would be established in Supreme Court and High Court for this purpose. And redressal mechanism, so against potential candidates for judgeship. So appointments which names have been recommended, if there is any complaint, a redressal mechanism here for complaints as such which anybody would have would also be provided for. Then the next news item is US imposes new sanctions on Iran. So we have already seen that US has plans that it would impose sanctions. So already now 13 individuals and 12 entities have been put under sanctions because US already it has put on notice because of a ballistic missile test which Iran had conducted. So under these sanctions, these people and these entities cannot access US financial system or deal with US companies. Also, they are subjected to secondary sanctions. So secondary sanctions means any foreign company or individual who is dealing with these prohibited individuals and entities will also be not allowed to deal with anybody in US. So secondary sanctions are also imposed. So indirect dealing also cannot take place. Then they also suffer the risk of being blacklisted by US, any other foreign company dealing with them. Then the next news item is Myanmar army committed crimes against humanity, UN. So this is a UN report which has come forth in which it says that Myanmar security forces have committed mass killings and gang rapes of Rohingya Muslims in this Rakhine state in October 2016 when this riots erupted. So these are crimes against humanity. Around 66,000 people have fled from Rakhine state. Rohingya Muslims have fled to Bangladesh and other regions as well. So this has been because of the military crackdown in this region. So after the attacks on police and border posts were done in October 2016, this complete backlash came, which resulted in a huge exodus of these Rohingya Muslims who have already been slashed from their citizenship status by the Myanmar government earlier. So this is regarding the Rakhine state in Myanmar, which is close to Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar district, which we have discussed earlier too. So they are fleeing from here majorly in Bangladesh. We discussed recently Bangladesh is trying to shift them to an island as such, uninhabited island, which is having the threat of floods taking place too, because there is a huge burden of these Rohingya Muslims which are accumulating, coming forth and taking refuge in Bangladesh. So they have spread all over in Malaysia, Thailand. Rohingyas are residing now as refugees. So the next news item is RTI Act comes into force in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankan government has also passed an RTI Act similar to what India has, bringing in transparency and good governance, eliminating corruption, maladministration. So there the information will be provided within 28 days. We have 1 month's time frame. Here they have 28 days. In India, apart from 1 month's time frame, if it is question of life or death, it has to be provided within 48 hours. So that is also there. Then the next news item is China denies putting pressure on Pakistan for Saeed's arrest. So we have already discussed this yesterday. Hafiz Saeed, which is a suspected mastermind in Mumbai terror attacks of 2008, has been put under house arrest in Pakistan, and the Pakistan media claims that it was China's pressure under which Pakistan has acted so. So China denies that we have not put any pressure on Pakistan to act against Hafiz Saeed or even Masood Azhar, as the Pakistani media claims, who is the head of Jaish-e-Mohammed group and is accused in the Pathankot airbase attacks of 2016 in India. So this also the technical hold which is being put by China on a UN sanction which India is proposing. So this again, China is putting pressure on Pakistan to act against them is seen here. But China presently says that we want Pakistan to act against terror organizations, but we have not specifically put any pressure on Pakistan to do anything. Then the next news item is Centre spurns Gujarat's plea to end duty on scrap ship imports. So Gujarat, and specifically the Alang Sosia Ship Recycling Center, is the hub of ship breaking. So ship recycling industry is located here. So ship breaking means the old ships which are there. are to be broken down, and there are important metals which can be extracted from them. So this is a very labor intensive industry, and it also results in huge pollution and even may result into diseases which may occur like asbestosis or something. So these industry are located in developing countries. The developed countries send their ships here, and the developing countries indulge in this business. So of course, it provides a lot of employment. Safeguards have also to be put into effect. So these India is having around 35% of the global share of shipbreaking industry. In 2014 also this was the percentage. So we have a major share. Gujarat is the hub. 90% of ship recycling in India takes place here in this Alang Sosia ship recycling yard. So this is very famous site. So now what the Gujarat government was demanding from the central government was the basic custom duty which is imposed, 2.5% duty on ships which are imported for recycling in India. So this 2.5% duty should be scrapped, but the government did not take into consideration this suggestion, and no scrapping has taken place because it says that we have already imposed duties on steel and iron which is imported from abroad, because then primary manufacturers in India suffer. So this also, if this duty is removed, then this would also bring in the same concern as such. So that is why this duty remains. They were demanding that such duties are not demanded by other countries which are also hubs for ship recycling like Bangladesh and so on. So similarly, in India too, Pakistan, China are major ship breaking industry hubs also. So we should also not impose such custom duty, but this has not been accepted. So you can see that more than 7,000 vessels have been recycled in this Alang recycling yard. So ship recycling results in satisfying 2% of the country's steel demand. So steel which is extracted from here is substantial. So you can see this helps in reducing the amount of iron ore mining which is required, a foreign currency requirement to import iron ore and steel. So it also reduces carbon footprint to the entire process involved in mining and then manufacturing iron and steel. So that is also the benefit here when this recycling takes place from here. But the import of ships also take place and the duty is imposed here. So that is there. The other factors which this ship recycling industry is highlighting which hurt them, it says rupee depreciation. So this results in high volatility against the US dollars which are used by them to purchase this importing of these old ships. So that rupee volatility, the lower increase in steel prices in India. So when steel prices are low in India, the steel which they produce and have to be sold off, they do not get enough. Then competition from countries in shipbreaking industry from like countries like China, Pakistan and Bangladesh. The next news item is single dose Zika vaccine works well in animals. So this innovative vaccine has been developed from genetic material which has been used on protected lab animals like mice and monkeys. So they have been given this single low dose of the vaccine, and after being given this dose, 5 months after that, when they were exposed to Zika virus, the mice were not affected. Even monkeys, after 5 weeks of the dosage, when they were exposed to Zika, they were not affected by the virus. So this has been an innovative development. So Zika virus, which erupted in mid 2015, has affected a huge population, especially in South America and Brazil. So actions are required against this. So Zika virus, it originated, the name also comes from Zika forest in Uganda in Africa. So it was first detected in 1947 in rhesus monkeys and then in humans also in 1952. So this virus is transmitted through the Aedes aegypti mosquito, the mosquito which is also responsible for spreading dengue and chikungunya. So this Zika virus, you can see the symptoms here, and majorly it has affected women in Brazil who are pregnant and has resulted in even microcephaly being seen in infants. So this is a condition in which the brain size is lesser than the normal brain size and children are adversely affected. So this treatment against this and vaccination protection against this is quite important. So this development is also very much important. The next news item is third-hand smoke can harm infants. So this is a study which has shown that smoking causes cancer has been known. So this was developed in 1950s, well established. Later, it was also seen that second-hand smoke means somebody else is smoking and when you inhale it, that also harms your health. Now scientists have found that third-hand smoke is also quite harmful, especially for infants. So third-hand smoke means the sticky residues from the tobacco puffing, which is gets stuck on the walls or the furniture. So when exposure takes place to this, then it also results in adverse conditions, like it causes lower infant weight, alters the count of blood cells in the human immune system. So this study talks of third hand smoke. The last news item is injured cat fitted with a pair of bionic legs. So this bionics is a field of science and technology. So what does it mean? We'll see. This is the case of a cat named Pooh who had suffered an injury because of which its hind legs were suffered. So a prosthetic hind legs means not real. These hind legs, mechanical hind legs were used. So this is the first bionic cat from Bulgaria. Earlier such operations have been conducted in UK. This is the second time that a country outside Europe, Bulgaria, has seen bionic implantations being done. So these prosthetics were used. So this bionics actually means that a technological device which can control a human being bodily functions are aided or controlled by these technological devices which can perform normal biological operations as such using electronic or electromechanical devices. So that is bionics. So that is shown here. Cyborg, it says, is the best example of bionic technology. So this is a fictional hypothetical person who has physical capabilities extending normal human limitations. So mechanical elements attached to the body which can help in better functioning. So that can be controlled. So electromechanical devices which are used here. So, they can give artificial sight to blind people. They can cure handicapped people. And they are more durable and more efficient than organic life as such too, because these are mechanical attachments which are done to the body. So that is it. These are the news items. Thank you.